gonna load up. It's kind of wet out. Rained a little bit yesterday. Really no frost in the ground. It's supposed to rain again tomorrow. Too wet to really go work out in a field anywhere. Work with loose ground. But there is a yard we have to clean up. It's got good sod on it, and then there's pallets and brush and all that laying around a barn. So I'm gonna head over there and I can kind of scrape that stuff together, clean up, and I should be able to do it all without really getting into loose ground or mud and making a mess out of things. So I'm gonna load up this quick and then we'll see. I don't know if we'll bring the skid loader out there today too, or just this guy and a saw, and get cleaned up what we can, and then if it freezes then we can go back out in the field somewhere. One thing I gotta remember to do here quick is put this bolt in instead of the pin. I just have a pin in here because that's a lot quicker and easier. While I was messing with the bucket, I had that in, but now that I'm gonna go and deal with brush and that, I'm gonna put the bolt back in so we don't lose the pin. These are both 14mm wrenches. Technically I should have a 9/16 for this bolt and nut, but since everything else on the machine is metric, 14 is close enough, usually works. So that's what I'm using. So now I'll get her chained down and we'll be set to go. Got her all loaded up, chained down. Just gotta throw a few more things in the truck and then we can head out there. Made it out here. It's a little greasy, but not too bad. Gonna get the chains off, get it unloaded here, and then go. It's not so much the front here, but in the back there's some trees and that, small trees that gotta get pulled out, and some pallets that got to get moved and just kind of leveled off so we don't have to trip around things. That building over there we are going to take down too. Probably won't work on it today at all, but I want to peel the metal off the roof separately and then punch a hole in the roof and then try to get a bunch of beams from the loft area picked out of there without damaging them. But first I got to clean up a bunch of trees around it so I'm not getting all tangled up and stuff. So I will get this thing unloaded and then we'll get to work. Well, we got her all unsecured and ready to go. Important step, always look up before you unload, because you do get kind of tall, and if you're near any wires, it could be very bad, very quick. Also want to make sure you're level side to side. It might not seem like you're very crooked, but you get on an angle going down a hill, and all of a sudden it gets kind of squirrely. So I don't claim to be an expert at unloading these things yet. Loading I can drive up pretty nonchalantly, but unloading is a pretty slow and awkward process for me yet. Hoping as I get it figured out, maybe find a way to be a little more comfortable at it. Helps a lot now that I put a block under the trailer, but it still is just, I think it would help if I had the confidence to just drive off the trailer, but I'm not sure if I would, how much I would tip forward when I do that. And then the fact that you're driving with the controls backwards makes it kind of iffy feeling when you're new at it. So that is something I'm really looking forward to getting more comfortable with. Trailer. I think what I'm going to do is get this thing parked off to the side and then get the trailer turned around. I don't plan on taking the machine out of here today. I'm going to leave it parked here, but I would at least like to get the truck turned around and facing out of here. That way if I run into trouble doing that, I can get myself out now rather than wait until when I want to leave and then being stuck and having to get the machine fired back up again to pull myself out. So I started by just taking a few brushy trees out and stuff, make a little room around some buildings to work. Now I am working on what appears to be a pile of old cedar shake, is my guess. I thought it was just pallets and old boards and crap, but it sure seems like it's old cedar shake, a pile of it. And so I'm just trying to kind of tidy up the edges to start with the blade, get it pulled that, and then I'll go hop on the other side of it and use the bucket and pull it towards me. I'm hoping that by doing this I at least get it put into a pile that's small enough that I can reach across pretty much the whole pile, so I don't have to drive over top of everything and mash it in, or at least not too much of it. And then I'll see how clean I can get it, I guess, and if I can keep it fairly clean, then hopefully we can burn it. Not right now, obviously, everything's saturated, but if I can get it piled up and it can start to dry out, then we can do that. And otherwise, if there's too much ground mixed with it, then maybe it needs to get buried or something a little different. But we're gonna have a few fires here at some point, so if it can dry out somewhat, maybe at that point we can throw it on a bigger fire that we have going, and at least a chunk of it'll burn up. And then I don't know, we'll see what happens. But yeah, it looks like just a lot of cedar shake. So I'll try to get it on one condensed pile and cleaned up. That way when we come in here, there's more pallets over there, but it'd be nice to get it cleaned up to a point that when we come in with the skid loader, most likely tomorrow, we'll bring it out here, but then we don't have a bunch of nails laying all over. And so that we don't need to worry about that. This thumb, now that I lengthened it a little bit, it is different. It is a lot more different than you would think it would be, because the piece that's in between the thumb, like the webbing, I used to be able to pinch that down and really grab small stuff more, but now with those fingers I added on the end are doing exactly what they're supposed to do, prevent the thumb from closing up into the bucket and getting jammed in there. But it holds the thumb open a little more on the bucket. Since the bucket sides are worn down, it leaves more room for a stick to slide out the side or out the end. So I think what I'm going to have to do is get some plate and weld it in between there, in between the two teeth. But that'll be good. That'll add a little more rigidity to the thumb as well. So yeah, I'm going to see. I think I'm going to push this up a little bit with the blade, and then, like I said, hopefully get at it where I can scratch it together with the bucket. It'd be nice to have a little wider bucket, but that's all right. So this is working fairly well, but also not that well, I guess, depending. It's working. I'm making piles, but I'm a little concerned as to how clean I'm actually going to be able to get it and how burnable it's going to be when I have it piled, because I am getting a bit of mud with it, and I mean, I don't really know how to get around that. I'm trying to push a bunch of rotten wood onto a pile that's grown into grass, so it's not ideal, but we're making progress. So I've got one bigger pile I made over there. I'm gonna go tidy that up in a second. I just wanted to make room here. This feels like either a giant rock or something frozen under here. Just want to make sure it's not a cover of a septic tank or something that I'm gonna suddenly be swimming. I think it's just a chunk of ground that was not frozen, but solid. Felt a little funny. So this pile does have a little bit of crap in it. It's mostly cedar shake, especially once you get up on the other side or other end of it. But there's just some, holy shit, just some wood mixed in with it. Glad I had a windshield. Otherwise I'd have a few less front teeth right now. So I want to, try to get this pushed up. It's a lot more fun pushing the cedar shake than dealing with these pallets and other crap. But yeah, I'd like to get this pushed up so that if nothing else, it's out of the way when we come with the skid loader and work. And also, then I'll start drying. Do have some ground mixed in it, but I think some of that will filter out when I kind of reset stack this pile with the bucket. Hopefully it kind of sifts out the dirt. I don't know, maybe there's a better way to do this. If I had a bigger machine and a longer reach, then I would be a lot more tempted to just use the bucket. Yeah, if I had a bigger machine and a bigger bucket, then I could do a lot of scratching with the bucket and do it that way. But I only have this 2-foot bucket for this, and my reach isn't overly long. But this actually worked pretty good. I'd say I got it fairly cleaned up. Just push it in a little more on the sides, and then I'll figure out how to pile it up a little more. And then over there, the other piles, there's probably be able to make one more pile of wood, and then a lot of the other stuff I think is just ground, and then there'll be some trees and stuff to take out. But maybe there's not that much over there. Maybe I'll just try to push it all this way, and it'd be nice to just have it be one pile. Only one pile to deal with. So I think I'm gonna put you guys on fast forward again for a little bit, and we'll go from there. As I've gotten into this pile a little more, there was, right at the beginning, there was a bunch of pallets and crap. That was the first push I took. And after that, now it's become more just brush, like a brush pile. So, I don't know if that's better or worse. I guess it makes sense, because that pile over there was all the cedar shake, and I thought it was a little odd that they had it spread out so much, but it really wasn't spread out as bad as what I thought, because this stuff over here appears to just be like they just threw brush here. So this shouldn't be bad. Get the rest of this pushed over there, and then this will be cleaned up fairly good. There is some, look over here, that dead tree, and that was all just kind of piled up against the base of the tree. Once I do get the pile over here tidied up, then I'll probably take that dead tree and all the stuff that's laying around it and go throw that on the pile up on top as well. And then go from there, see if it's far enough away. If it dries up enough, then it's far enough away from the barn that we can burn it where it stands, and also we can get around it. We're talking to some people to see if they would come and take the barn down, because it is in good shape. It's just we have no use for it, so it'd be nice if rather than it getting just destroyed and us knocking it down, if somebody could come and take the lumber out of it, do something with it. So we want to clean it up so that they can come and look at it and work around it then if need be. Anytime I do this pushing with this thing, it works pretty darn nice, but it also makes you think how having a dozer around would be really handy. But they're also expensive to buy and expensive to maintain. Well, I've got it kind of not perfectly pushed up, but kind of pushed up on all sides, and then now I'm just gonna try to grab it from where I can and build it up a little bit, make it as small a footprint as I can. That way hopefully it dries as best it can, and it's not in our way. There's a lot of grass and junk in this, but it'll dry out some. This stuff is starting to break down a little bit. Oh, that cedar really doesn't rot. That's why they used it, because it can handle it. But I think just the animals being in here and kind of chewing it apart and making nests and that, and the grass growing in it, and then that all starting to rot. There's a lot of topsoily crap in here. But time will tell. We'll see what burns, what doesn't, and nothing else. We're going to be digging a hole to bury a lot of other stuff, so I'm not going to get too concerned about getting this completely cleaned up right now, because I am going to bring over that other wood, and when I throw that on, something's gonna be falling off, and have to clean up the edges again anyway. So I'll just like to get this pallet stuff up and in there, so that's not losing nails where we're driving around. Pile's pretty piled up, so I'm going to start bringing that dead tree material over, and that actually I might go the other way with, now that I think of it. Once I get this piece picked up, I can't hardly see what I'm doing because of the sun. Once I get this picked up, I can show you over here. There is a straight ahead, there's a brush pile there. There's a fence line over there we took out and we brought it out here. So since the pile behind me I just made has a bunch of nails on it and some ground and isn't going to burn that well, I think I'm going to take this stuff here and stack it on that other brush pile. That way it's all kind of the same stuff on that pile, and that one we know we can just burn. So we'll see what I find in here. It's probably kind of rotten. Not really going to want to burn anyway, but see what we find. Got to kind of be careful and stuff like this too. You never know if, you know, the tree might be growing there because there was something there. You know, maybe there was a pipe there or sticking out of the ground, and a little tree got growing, and then it just got bigger, so can't be too aggressive going in here, just in case there is something in here. I am fairly certain the well wouldn't be back here or any of that stuff, especially since this is where the barn hill was. So there's, you know, most likely there's nothing, but who knows? Hate to get aggressive and wreck something. It does seem like the trees like this that are growing off of stumps come off really easy because they're just growing on the side of them usually. So if you give them a little snap, a lot of times they just break right off. Now I'm sure these won't come off, and I don't regret saying that, but usually that's the case. So they don't really have their own roots, they're just suckered off the tree trunk. I might not spend too much time hauling this over there either, because tomorrow if we come with the skid loader, that thing moves brush piles a lot more efficiently than I can. It can grab about the same amount. It can grab more volume-wise, not as much weight, but it can grab a bigger pile. And then obviously the skid loader drives a lot faster. So even if I just pile this up here, Brian can grab that stuff. I definitely got to do something with this bucket and thumb, how they interact with each other, because I could grab stuff a lot better before, and I don't, you know, obviously I want to keep on the pieces I put on, because the thumb acts how it's supposed to now, but the bucket sides are just so worn that it doesn't work properly, so I'm gonna have to do something with that. I'm going to do today. It's getting to be the end of the day. I've got to go home, fix the washing machine. Pulley on it broke the other day, so we've been without a washing machine for 2 days. The part came in today, so I'd like to get home and get that installed and working again. So yeah, I'll probably just do a little bit more here and then